From Inc.com, this is the Inc. Productivity Tip. Expert opinions, valuable insight, and helpful advice from today's top business coaches, thought leaders, and entrepreneurs. One of the great ironies of leadership is that the better you become at solving problems, the harder it can be to recognize when you're solving the wrong one. Success reinforces the habits, assumptions, and instincts that created it until the world changes and those same strengths become obstacles. Over the past 3 decades, Mike Maddock has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and CEOs. The leaders who continue to reinvent themselves are not always the smartest or most experienced people in the room. They are the ones who understand that objectivity is a competitive advantage, and that objectivity is difficult to achieve when you are deeply immersed in the business you build. That's why great leaders rely on peer groups. They are not just looking for advice. They're looking for perspective from people who can challenge their thinking and then reveal what they may no longer see. One of innovation's greatest enemies is expertise. Mike wrote about this in his book, Free the Idea Monkey. As you gain experience, you become better at recognizing patterns and applying proven solutions. However, you can also become too attached to the tools and strategies that made you successful in the first place. Entrepreneurs often fall into this trap because their ability to adapt and execute has been rewarded. Operators improve processes. Sales leaders focus on customers. Marketers refine messaging. Technologists look for new tools. None of these approaches are wrong. They simply reflect the lens each leader uses to view the world. Now, the problem is that every lens has blind spots. Your hammer wasn't designed to turn screws. When the business changes, using the same tools harder will not always create a breakthrough. Often, the challenge isn't a lack of effort. It's that the assumptions behind your strategy no longer match reality. The best leaders do not immediately search for better answers. They first ask whether they are asking better questions. So, there's this thing called the Socratic paradox, which is, I know that I know nothing. And that captures an important leadership lesson. Growth requires humility. To create disruption, leaders must be willing to rethink the formulas that made them successful. The challenge is that our strategies often become connected to our identities. You don't just defend your decisions. Instead, you defend yourself. And that's where trusted peers become invaluable. They are not emotionally attached to your past choices, which allows them to see patterns you may have stopped noticing. One of Mike's favorite questions to ask CEOs is, if someone acquired your company tomorrow morning, what would they stop doing in the first 30 days? The answer often comes quickly, and it is frequently different from the solutions they have relied on for years. Diverse peer groups create value because they challenge assumptions from different angles. A healthcare executive may see an opportunity invisible to a manufacturing CEO. A technology founder may identify possibilities a traditional business model overlooks. Outside perspectives are powerful because they are not limited by your company's traditions, internal politics, or accepted beliefs. Consider how industries have changed. Taxi companies once believed they needed fleets of cars and drivers, and then companies like Uber and Waymo challenged those assumptions and redefined transportation. The strongest leaders understand that meaningful decisions require multiple perspectives. Visionaries see possibilities. Operators identify execution challenges. Strategists consider long-term consequences. Customer-focused leaders understand market needs. Each viewpoint is incomplete on its own, but together they create a clearer picture of reality. The best leaders never confuse confidence with certainty. They know leadership is not about proving they have all the answers. It is about creating an environment where better thinking can emerge. If your business feels stuck, resist the urge to immediately search for a new strategy. Instead, Find people who can challenge the assumptions behind your current thinking. Your next breakthrough may not come from discovering a better answer. It may come from seeing the problem differently. That's all for today. Today's tip was authored by Mike Maddock. For more expert opinions from today's top business coaches and thought leaders, go to inc.com/lead. Be sure to come back on Thursday for another helpful tip from Inc.